Welcome to the Flourishing Founders podcast, where I interview inspiring Canadian entrepreneurs about the highs and lows of taking the leap of faith and starting their own business. My name is Ashley Deering. I'm the owner of Deering Media, a Fredericton, New Brunswick-based digital marketing agency. Let's jump into the episode. Welcome back to the Flourishing Founders podcast. This is the live recording of episode 11 called Painting Your World with special guest Alison Veino. This show is all about interviewing Atlantic Canadian entrepreneurs about the highs and lows of starting their business and scaling it up over time. Alison Veino is a St. Thomas University graduate who still lives here in Fredericton, New Brunswick with her husband and 2 children. She is a graduate of the highly competitive Catapult Artist Accelerator Program sponsored by ArtsLink New Brunswick, ACOA, and the province of New Brunswick. Super impressive. She is known for her colorful abstract fluid art and has worked collaboratively with fashion designers, has exhibited in numerous group exhibitions, and has successfully completed collaborations and commissions for hotels and many local businesses. A skilled art entrepreneur, Alison is well represented in social and print media. Her work resides in the private and public collections in New Brunswick, across Canada, in the US, and the UK. So Alison is quite the impressive lady, and we are going to bring her on the show today to talk to her about how she's done all this incredible stuff. Hello, beautiful. Good morning.
I am so excited to meet you. I feel like you've been such a presence for so long now that I'm like, I kind of feel like I know you even though I don't know you, if you know what I mean.
That's how I feel about you. I feel like we kind of have that same like energy, like try to stay on the positive side of things, you know, like I totally vibe with you and I don't even know you. So I'm super excited to be talking to you today. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So let's hop into it. I want to learn about you. I want to dive in deep to how you've become so incredible and such a presence in the art industry. So let's start at the beginning, my love. How did your art and like, how did this journey begin for you, your love of creation?
Well, I think I was always like working with my hands in one way, shape, or another. And I very cognizantly remember at the age of 5, I randomly did this sketch, and I remember it was like a fashion sketch, and I remember being like, this is really good. There's something here. But then life, right? And it's like, I didn't have the support of like, oh, go for it or whatever. It was just like, you know what I mean? It was just like,
you're going to fail if you're an artist.
Yeah. And I also was brought up sort of like, artists can't make a living. Right? You're going to be broke. You can't do it. It's like, not like, go be the professional. And so I did it. Like I went and did the professional thing. And then what happened was I had my first child, and then I was really into like makeup and like colors and combinations about colors. And I thought, you know what, I'll take a design course. And so I started taking like a course about design and all that sort of thing. And what I found myself doing, Ashley, is I was always looking at the art, and I was like delusional. And I was like, I can do better than that. And I don't know why it was like that, but it was just like, it was so strong, Ashley. It was just like, no, like there's something else that needs to be on this planet, and I haven't seen it yet, and I want to create it. And so that's kind of what started happening. And then there was a whole slew of things that started happening. Like we ended up, we were going to sell our house, and I was like, well, you know, original art in a house sells a house better, right? Because you'll get more dollar because there's this percent, you know. And so I had my art up. Like I just put my art up, and I did bigger pieces. I always started with bigger pieces. I love the freedom of it, Ashley. You know, like some people prefer to do like small and delicate. I'm like, go big, go like, just like my personality.
Yeah, it speaks to you, who you are.
So who I am. And then a person who ended up becoming like one of my best friends, she like walked in the house and she was like, I want to buy that. And I was like, no, but that's like my art. And they were like, no, but I want to buy that. And I was like, no, but like I made that. And they're like, I know, I want to buy it. And I was like, what? So like that's sort of like the progression. And then it just really I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just very fortunate. I ended up aligning with a lot of there's sort of a group of about 5 of us, and we were all just sort of like coming in at the same time to what we were doing. We had all been doing it individually, but then we decided, you know, to do things together, like pop-up shows and different things, and introducing like a new way for people to explore art, which is much more relaxed than, you know, like a gallery setting, which I love a gallery too. I love a gallery too, but we knew that there was something missing. And so creating that, and we all had very different styles. That was the other reason why it was able to work, because the way in which we create, there's something for everyone, right? Like, so we weren't all fluid artists. We were all different in how we created. So it was kind of easy to get along. And listen, all those women, they are all killing it now too with, you know, going back to university. One's a new mom, one's like, you know, doing a bunch of murals. Like, it's just, there's space for everyone. And I think that people kind of get it in their head sometimes that it's like, if that person succeeds, I don't succeed.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that, Ashley. I
don't either.
There's space for all of us to succeed and do well. And for me, it's about meeting community. Like, if I didn't have art, I would have no reason to meet you. How would I ever meet you?
100%.
With Zach through a photo shoot, or Jenna or Adrian or one of our like mutual friends, but like, other than that, like, how would we meet?
That's so it. And that's one of the main things I try to teach clients when I bring them on for social media is it's not about the likes. It's not about all the numbers and stuff like that. It's, are you building a genuine community and connection with the people that are following you? You know what I mean? And I feel like you do that so well.
Aw.
You sold your first painting to a friend, but did that spark? Like, how did the business...
Actually, she wasn't a friend at the time. She wasn't like, no, she wasn't a friend at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So how did that become a business for you? Like, you sell one, and then how does that spark the rest of this journey for you?
Okay, we've got some catching up to do, Ashley. Let's do some. What happened we moved houses, and then I got into this, like, I'm in the house that we're in now, and my studio is in the basement, but like, I've taken over the entire basement, and like, completely. Like, I'll give you a tour in a second here, but I've taken it over, and we did a whole studio repair to be able to make it work for what I do, because fluid, it needs a lot of drying times.
Fair.
Right? And I work big, so I need a lot of space to, like, you know, while I'm working on this one, that one can be drying and different things. And I know I'm kind of jumbled, but that's my personality, Ashley. But what just recently happened over the last, I don't know, month and a half, I guess, is that my children were home from school. So I had to change the way in which I was creating, because I just genuinely, like, I feel like people aren't really talking about the motherhood of what's going on in this.
Yeah.
And how it genuinely impacts the way in which we are able to do our job, right? So I had to sort of switch, because I could work upstairs doing the florals. I can bring my acrylics upstairs. I can, like, watch the kids. I can help them with their online training, coaching, teaching, whatever
hybrid version of that is.
and actually, like, the kids, I'll be really honest with you, they have not been at school. So when they're not at school, I got 2 kids to watch it. I can't be, like, down in the studio, but I did get them to help me make some magnets. That's a side note, but you can do it messy, and you have to clean up. And, like, some of the things I don't want them smelling or being near, because I wear a mask for some of the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's just why. And it was cute, because my daughter turned to me the other day, my daughter who's 9, she's adorable. And she turned to me and she said, "Mom, listen, 9. Okay. 9. She's like, your florals are beautiful, but here's the reality. It's not your soul. Like, you need to get back to your soul." And, you know, actually, there's moments in that, right? Of just being like, oh, you get it. Like, you get it. Get that that's who I am, right? And so it was kind of funny, but, and the reason why I went to florals is because last summer, did you see, like, down on Regent Street, how they had to do construction? So what they did is they hired, I don't even know how many artists there were. I was lucky. There were four different, like, 6x5
yes.
art. Yeah. So I was really lucky. I got 2 of my paintings there. And actually, here, I brought them here. So this is one thumb. That's
gorgeous.
My floral. And that one was chosen, as well as my fluid, which is this one.
Oh, so you got both in there.
Yeah, I was really lucky.
Oh, that's cool.
And but then again, I was like, I got to keep exploring that a little bit. If I can't be creating my fluid, I have to grow. And this is like what you do, right? You test new limits of like what you're going to do.
And what sells better for you? Like, what does your audience prefer from you?
I think that people are catching on that I can do a floral. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things, like, you're supposed to stay specialized. You're supposed to stay in one niche. You're supposed to do all these things. But I feel my art and my fluid art is so personal. Like, if you buy a piece of my art, you are a part of my soul to me. Like, it is a connection that I have with the people who choose to invite my art into their space for their memories, for their photographs, for everything. So I guess just for me, it's like when I feel insecure in where I'm about to go, because as you can see, like, I was very neutral, right? But I'm headed into a very, like, something like this, but like super vibrant, super hyper, like colorful. And so I kind of was like, well, I'll go to the florals because it won't feel so personal. It's like literally like putting a layer in between me and the client just for a second while I figure a few things out with colors.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, and so now I'm ready, like, get back to school, kids, because like even this week there was a snow day, and then there was like no school because of everything that's going on downtown. So yeah, so it's like if I could get to work, that would be really great, guys.
Oh my gosh. So what's the plan when the kids go back? What's your next collection? Like, can you give us any teasers or a main color or?
Well, like there was someone who reached out about an opportunity, but actually, in this industry, there's always like a lot of different things that come to our plates. We're very fortunate. I'm so blessed, but it's like, there's a lot of different things that come, and it's like, you never know what's going to land.
Yeah.
Right? Like
100%.
Term. I always call it term, because to me, does your year start to you in your head in January, or is it in September?
For me, it's January because I'm a January baby. My birthday's on the 15th, so I'm like, new year, new me, let's go.
I'm completely the opposite. I'm like September, school year is always the beginning for me. And there were like opportunities that were presenting themselves that I was like, well, I don't know what's going to land, so I'm just going to say yes to it. And the next thing I knew, I was like, there was something like Founders Forum. I was one of the speakers on stage. So it was like, that was one thing. I had Jenna collaboration. So there was different things like with, getting video done certain days and like having the artwork ready. How about that? Like, all those things too. So it was just like, oh my goodness, what have I signed up for? Like, like I'm a little bit crazy, but I prefer to be busy. Do you prefer to be busy?
100%. And that's one thing people don't talk about is, as you're an artist, that's how you present yourself to the world, but you're a business owner too. You need to be the marketer. You need to be the accountant. You need to do and wear all these different hats. So we have such crazy days sometimes that aren't even really evolve around like the creation or doing what you truly love. It's like trying to keep everything afloat and going, but it's good to be busy. I always say I'd rather be busy than, have things be quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
I really wanted to dive in, so I know Jenna well. I wanted to dive into the collaboration that you did with Holland Homes. It's like there's a beautiful piece in the background there just sticking out. We need to dive into that. How did you two meet? How did things come about? And then how did you actually decide to like, you know what, we're going to collaborate on this? And like, what was that process like for you guys?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, like there were so many, we had so many different plans in the mix. And because of COVID restrictions, etc., everything just kept switching on us. But you know what I'll tell you? Jenna is so funny. Like, I think that you don't, like people see her stories. Like, I did not realize how funny she is. She is such good, like, she's so cool. Like, she was like, I sort of did a whole bunch of, like, if you will, like, color charts, if you will, of all different colors. And I was like, let's see what works for you. But again, like, there were so many steps, Ashley. Like, it wasn't just as simple as like all of a sudden, boom, the video happened. There was like preparation and conversations. And I think the biggest thing too that I've realized during the pandemic is how many women, like really tremendous women there are in our, like, I could cry. Like, there's so many tremendous women in our community who genuinely just want to create a better life for like next generations and giving back to our community. And like, we did do, like, I gave back to community, like with some of the profits that we made. I haven't really talked about that because I feel like, I know some people lead with that, but I kind of think that's not really my style. So, but like, it's a part of who we are and what we want to do. And I have so much, like, it's so interesting. Like, you know, she's so talented at creating spaces that has a space for everything. Like, I've physically been into 2 or 3 of her homes that she's like designed.
Yeah.
There's like, as a mom, there's always like everything has a spot.
The storage is always like nicely hidden, but there's tons of it. And like, one of my dreams is having a Holland home. It's on like my wish list.
Well, put it on the vision board. Get it on, get it on there and be like, because you wouldn't regret it. Like, I feel like they like, even the materials they use and the way that she sources everything, she's very good at what she does, you know? And I think that people don't realize that she's really fun. Like, I don't know. She's probably going to be like, oh, Allie, you oversold me. But I'm not trying I'm not trying to sell her. I just really like her. And listen, there were a lot of twists that we went through together. And she showed up and like, you know, did a live with me before the launch. And, you know, I really value that. I really value people that you can count on and like, they show up, and like, she gave everything she could. And so I just think that's really cool. I think that women are great, you know?
That's so sweet. And do you guys see any like further collaborations? Like, I know sometimes when she styles her home, she has pieces of your, I actually shot a video when I had my video production company. That's how I first found out about you, is I was in there shooting a video and there was a little piece of your artwork on a fireplace. And I was like, huh, I wonder who that is. And that's literally how this all started for me, this connection. So seeing you guys evolve from that, being that little piece on the fireplace, to now you guys have a collaboration together. So cool.
Another funny thing is that, so 2 of my friends, Julia and Erin, they bought her house, like the other house that was another house. And when she was living in that house, I was like, my art is so suited for that house. And like, Jane was a realtor, and she like gave them a gift card, and then they ended up like getting a first piece, and then they got another piece. And like, because my art really suits her style of home, because it's not like, it's just an energy. It's just a really good energy in their home that is about, like, you know, all of the, anyways, we really got into talking about, like, she was sending me pictures, like, she was away with the family, and she was sending me pictures of, like, you know, like, just things that were inspiring her, and I related to all of it, you know, by the beach with the fam, you know, toes in the sand, and and you know, yeah, anyway, so like, we kind of, like, it sort of started like that. But again, we knew each other, knew each other from social media. Like, again, social media, it's like this unbelievable thing that I am so grateful for. I know a lot of people in the arts, like, they've kind of pushed it aside, like they didn't want to do it. But for me, it's not really about followers, it's not about likes, because I know that people see my posts and they don't like it. Like, you know, just in conversations after, Ashley, right? Like, they're like, oh my gosh, you did that. I'm like, but you didn't like it.
I'm like that all the time.
I'm like, really? How hard is it to like? You know? But that's okay. That's okay. I mean,
but even just planting that little seed in their head, them just seeing that piece of content, you know, it came back later on. I always say to people, half the people that I book as clients aren't even engaging with me online, but they're watching every single thing that I post and know about me and my services. And like, they're already warm leads by the time they come to me because of social media.
Well, or they're talking to their friends. Like, who's Ashley? Do I need to know Ashley? What is she is on social media? Like, I think when I get really surprised is when you meet people in person, and then you're like, oh, that, like, it's like they're a whole other person in person versus on social media. I go like, oh, like, that wasn't what like, if you meet me in person, like, this is who I am. I'm probably
okay, so when I meet people, they're like, are you genuinely like that all the time? I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like, here we are. Just enthusiastic about life, baby. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about how you've managed to scale up your business with your community. So you've been a part of Catapult Programs and all sorts of accelerators, really cool things. Can you talk a little bit more about that for any artists that may be watching that are, you know, interested in trying to take advantage of those programs?
Yeah. Well, that was just one. So I think what I was looking for from that program is that I just kind of wanted to be validated. I know that's such a I'm just being honest.
No, that's okay.
it was like, because I'm self-taught, I really wanted some kind of validation of like, yes, you're good enough. Like, and that's so ridiculous. Looking back, I should say, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it makes sense in the moment. That's okay.
But anyways, what ended up happening is, again, I ended up like one of the girls that I was talking about who's now going on to university. She was in that program with me and a couple of my other friends. And because there was only 6 of us, I think, at the time. And Tondway is one of them. He's a poet who's killing it right now. I love him. He's so smart. He is so talented. Anyways, all of them are really. But so I went through the program, but I think what the biggest thing is that the artists that came, they spoke very honestly. You know how you can do like the the prima donna kind of conversation, or you can get into it and get real. Yeah. And they really got real. And because of that, truthfully, I was just asked, like, I literally just accepted in being a mentor to somebody who had gone through the program. So
gosh.
Yeah, like, I don't feel like what I do is for me to keep. I feel like you have to like take on the next person and try to help them out in ways that you can't. And it's tricky, Ashley, because, you know, there are incentives from the government, like grants and stuff like that, but everything is so competitive. Everybody's going for the same spots. There's so it can be tricky to find a mentor sometimes. It can be tricky to do this. And I ended up with like a world-class mentor. I was very lucky. I got very lucky with mine. And we have this very loving relationship, and it's something I truly, truly value. And her name is Jennifer Penzienza, and she lives out in Keswick, but she is so special. Like, she's feisty, but she always tell you the truth. And, you know, I really value people, Ashley, who are just like, here's the good, the bad, the ugly, and let's go for it, and let's be truthful. And so I think that I've just, maybe a bit with my personality, I've just found really good humans, and my energy itself is like you, like we want to bring in positive people into our lives who want to cheerlead us and support us. And I try to do that to others, because I know you can sometimes see in people's posts, like what they're saying or what they're conveying, that they're like, there's something not connecting. And so if I can just be someone who's like, yeah, you can do it, like, you know, why not, right? Like,
yeah, and that's something I've always noticed about you, is you're a really loud, big cheerleader online. Like, anybody who posts something locally, I always see Alison in the comments, hyping them up, supporting them, cheering them on.
Yeah.
Like, it's karma, right? It's energy. What you're putting out there comes back around to you in one way or another, whether that turns into a new client because they like your energy, or somebody buys something from you because they come across your comment, or whatever it may be. You're putting good out there, and hopefully that always comes back to you. So I think that's a really beautiful way.
But I also try to really, honestly, I shop sales for, I will shop sales to make sure that I have the best price that I can even give my clients. Do you know what I mean? Like, I value the dollar, and I know how much work it takes right now to like afford even just a print. It's not an original, but like even a print, like I know that people have worked to get that money, and I really try to give it as like another opportunity to just support me. Even magnets. I have $8 magnets that are like, it's original art on a magnet. You can put it on your fridge, and that way, maybe that's all you can afford. Maybe you live in an apartment. Like, maybe it's the way for you to support me and keep me creating. And people tend to do that, you know? Like, if you
I like that. It's kind of the philosophy of like art is for everyone. Like, you're not gatekeeping it to, you know, an expensive over $1,000 paintings and stuff. You have a little bit of everything for everyone.
Art is for everyone, because when you live with original art, there is an energy, and there are things that you will notice that you didn't notice before, or you'll catch it in a different light and you'll be like, whoa, or you'll notice textures. Like, I think that's why I tend to, like, in my stories, I try to show like an up close details of my art after I created it with some music. Didn't realize I was going to need to be a DJ in this life. Did not. help me with any music, because I need all the help with the music. Anyways, but I'll go up close, and I'm like trying to show the details of the textures and the variations. And it just doesn't capture it the way that you see it in person. Like, to see it and read it in person, like the golds and the like different textures, and like almost aerial, I feel like, when I'm really in it. The way I see it is like I'm in the airplane, like, this is all in my head. Okay, let me but you know, when you're traveling and like you're going someplace south and you're like in the airplane and you're looking down and everything is so like there's textures and layers and colors that are just like that turquoise that, you know, I'm talking about. And like the browns with the, you know, like the white washing of the waves. And like, that is my soul. Like if I were like, cause it means that I'm going someplace to relax and have peace and, you know, quiet, because it's pretty busy. It's pretty busy out here, you know, it's pretty busy. And I haven't been traveling. Don't get me wrong here, Ashley. I'm not like out and about, but it's that kind of, that's what I'm trying to convey to you often, is like that kind of, it's what I'm so drawn to, is like like our land and the way in which we live in our land, and how people, you know, even the colors of like florals. Like I pick florals, like I have a garden and stuff like that, or in the front and in the back. And, you know, I will study a flower for hours and just like look at the petals and look at the colors, and like even colors that you wouldn't think would work, like a pink, yellow, black, right? And then the green, and then it's a different green. And then you look at it and you're like, yes, that makes perfect sense. It's beautiful. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, happy Valentine's Day.
That's fascinating. What's your process? If you were going to start a new canvas today, what's your like process of doing that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, honestly, what's on my heart right now is oh my gosh, like, I sound so ridiculous, but so I was driving.
I love it. I'm so invested.
So I was driving on York Street to go downtown, and I kept driving by this house, and there was literally one tulip that was like, it was screaming at me. It was like screaming at me, and it was taller than others, and it's white and purple with a little bit of yellow. And there was just something about this flower. It literally, I had to stop. Like, I had been going by a couple times, and I was like, if I don't stop and take pictures, I know this is so ridiculous, but I was like, if I don't stop and take pictures, I'm going to miss out. The flower's going to die, right? Like, it's a tulip. So anyways, I saw the owners. They were out gardening, and I was like, hi guys, I'm an artist. I need to take your picture. Like, and I was like, honestly, I kind of wanted to like get access to it. But when I saw the tulip and the way in which it the shape of it, I was like seeing the shape on my canvas, the color on my canvas. And I was also seeing, Adrian doesn't even know this yet, but Adrian Goodine, who's the Canadian fashion designer, I was literally seeing that, like, you know, that because her signature thing is scalloped. So it's like this.
Yes.
The tulip itself had that scallop. So I was kind of seeing like this dress that she, like, from the material. Anyways, I don't know if it's going to happen. Adrian and I have to talk. Anyways, but I saw it. Like, I just literally a tulip, and there was only one. And I asked the store, I was like, did you get that at like one of the nurseries, the local nurseries? And they said, no, we got it in Nova Scotia and it went out of business. So they didn't even tell me the tulip like kind or anything, because they didn't know it. But
so inspiration just hits you anywhere you go. That's insane.
And it's like a lightning bolt. Like, it's like a lightning bolt. I'm like, oh, okay. And sometimes, I'll be really honest, because I create in a fluid way, I have to be ready and willing. Like, I can have like a concept in my head of how I want it and expect it to look, but I have to release control, right? Like, I can't smother it to make it go in how I want it to go. I have to let it be what it needs to be too.
Yeah.
So this dance that I do in allowing it to move and stop and move, and then like let that settle, and then go back in, and then like maybe reshift a few things, or it sometimes needs another color. Like, sometimes I might be like, okay, like with that tulip, I'll be like, it's purple, but I won't end up with purple. I'll end up with other shades and variations to create more depth and all these different things. And I think that's a part of what makes what I do so exciting. Like, obviously I'm very passionate about what I do. Like, I love what I do so much. And I'm honored that I get to do it every day, because not everybody gets to do what they love. And I get to meet so many amazing people. Like, early in COVID, I was like, what am I? I'm a duck. I'm dead. Like, my career is done. And remember, what you don't know, sorry, I should say, is that, I graduated from Catapult like December 2019. And January 2020 was when I just finished the studio repair. So the studio was up and running. So I was like, oh my goodness, what have I done? Like, I've spent all this money. Oh my God, my business is done. And then I just said, you know what? I don't even care. I'm going to show up on social media. I'm going to do some like time lapses to share like what I was doing at the time. And what I ended up doing is I did these bookmarks. I did bookmarks, Ashley.
I remember that.
Yeah. And like, anyways, and what ended up, because I was just looking for something that I could be doing, really. I was just, and that was small so that I could be watching the kids. Because again, I was watching the kids. Like, I've had a lot of, even though I've had a lot of like big ticket items that have dropped or landed, it's also been with like a lot of ducks and variations of like ducks and dives of like, okay, I've got the kids this week. Okay. Like I don't have the kids this week. Okay. Like, and so it's been a lot of navigating that. Right. And, I mean, it's all good because I love my kids and they inspire me so much too, right? Like they will be the first one to pick a flower and be like, oh my goodness, you got to check out this color, you know, or maybe not pick it, but show me, you know, like that kind of thing. And anyways, it's just a miracle. Anyways, and then what happened was I started selling the bookmarks, and luckily, like they sold out like 3 times. Like it was so amazing. And what I found was that when people were picking up, I was doing contact lists. Like I would be there to say, oh, hey, Ashley, nice to meet you. But what they would do is those people would then in turn send them off to friends in other provinces so that they had a connection, or that they would give it to their grandma. And it was something that all ages, all demographics, all people, all races, all everything, sexualities, everything, they all had something to connect with me, and they wanted to connect me into other people that they love. Like,
that's beautiful.
Amazing. And that's what happens when, you know, you just show up as yourself instead of just pretend. Like I have my hair up in a scrunchie most every single day. It's like my loop scrunchie every day. Like I it, you know, hair up, get you know what done. But you know, that's how it is, because I never know if I'm going to have my kids home. Like literally, I could never have predicted that the kids were going to be home for teachers and nurses, poor nurses, to strike in like two weeks. And then, you know, kids were home early in December for another week or two. And then it got extended to the end of January. Like, so I just had to adapt, you know, like you just have to roll with it and adapt, you know?
Are your children creative? Do they ever get in the studio with you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My daughter has actually, there was one work I had of hers, and it was at an art show, and it was framed and everything. Anyways, she sold it for $100. Like she's
oh my gosh.
And it's what is interesting about my children in general. It's not just my children in general. Children are amazing, but they are so fearless. You know, I wish that parents and adults, that they didn't lose that self where they didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, they felt beautiful in whatever they looked like. And my kids grab colors. I'm like, oh, that's going to turn to mud or whatever. But they do it. And I'm like, glad I didn't say anything. or, you know, my son the other time, he said to me, he said, do you like it? And I answered him and I said, yes, I do, but I shouldn't have done that. So what I did after, as soon as I said it, I said, you know what? It doesn't matter if I like it. Do you like it? And he was like, yeah, I do. I said, all right, you know.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. And so that's what it's about. And I think that people feel that you have to either be like a full-time permanent artist to succeed or whatever. But I just think that's BS. Like you can literally with a pen, you can just doodle. Do you know how good that is for your mind? Especially you, because you're in the creative realm, right? And like you will come up, you believe it or not, you try it. Using a pen and just doodling. And it doesn't have to make sense. People are like, oh, it has to make sense. I have to be able to. No, you don't. Do you know how many bad pieces of art I made before I started making amazing art? Like, do you know how many? You have to make the bad art to make the good art. But by doing all of the art, it allows your brain to like release, and like that was a part of what. So I was in a magazine also in the fall, Created Here magazine.
Yes.
Yeah, that my art was like, I don't know, like 5 pages or something. Anyways, but it was also with an article about how important creativity is for our brain and our neurosurgeons. But yeah, it's so important. And like even just pulling out like whatever you can. Like I had I saw Trish from Loop. If you know Trish from Loop, she's awesome. So is Amanda. And I saw her, and I had watercolors, and I was like, take these, go do them with your kids, and like because it's so easy to clean up. You know, if you have
Yeah.
kids, it's so good to just put colors down and like let it be simple. Like watercolors are so simple. Like it's a brush, it's water, and it's some pigments. Like woo, like, and it feels good.
Nice to do something that's not so structured. Like I have to write a blog post or I have to do whatever it is. Like it's nice to just kind of let things flow because we don't do that often enough in life.
Oh, exactly. Because no, because people make it into something bigger, right? It's like I have to have
Yeah.
time to do it. You really don't. Like just put it like on your table where you watch TV and then just like start, you know, playing around and like doodling or whatever it is that you do. Because sometimes just allowing your brain that freedom of creativity allows it to open up a whole other bunch of ideas. Like even when I'm creating, I have my music up, I'm allowing myself to be in my zone and I'm creating, but sometimes I come up and I'm like, oh, I have an idea. And like it's something good for something else. It could be even business or like a real idea or something, you know? So
Yes.
just allowing that is so important. And I really feel like now, like it's a part of why I'm a part of Isaac's Way. I do Isaac's Way art auction. And a big part of why I do that, I mean, I've literally like selling my art, like thousands of dollars has gone back into our local kids in need in the arts. And, you know, it's so important right now because, you know, parents are having a hard time, you know, with money and stuff. And so this is a way to be able to like, you know, give back, another way to give back to our community. Like I want to do that. I think that's important. And the more that we can show up for our community, the better our community is and the stronger it is. And the more people we get to meet, right? Like,
Yes. It all comes back around, right? You putting yourself out there, you doing positive, good things. Like, oh, you're such a lovely breath of fresh air.
but
I want to move to something a little tricky. What's one of the hardest lessons you've had to learn while growing this business? And how'd you overcome it?
um, I think that that's a hard one.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a bad interaction with like a person or something like that. Like maybe it was like you learning when to stop touching a painting and stop making adjustments to it, or like.
I think a big obstacle for me was being self-taught, and I felt like that because in my life to that point before becoming a creator, I had all the like education, right? Like I had all the education, and then this was like self-taught, so I felt less than. And I think that my moment of clarity of no longer allowing that to serve me was in speaking with Jennifer Penzienza, and in talking to her, she said, "But Alison," she's like, "I can teach anyone how to do something, but at the end of the day, they have to pick up that brush and they have to figure it out for themselves."
Yeah.
And another obstacle I had was it's all mental, eh? It's all mental. My art is so intertwined with who I am. So it is personal. It, you know, as much as it is business, it has moments of like, this is personal. Like, oh my goodness. One thing I won't ever forget though, is when Jenna came down, she came down to the studio because we were going to do some videoing with Zach, who was on last week, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And when she walked down, she was like, oh, like her. And I was like, I had never seen Jenna have a big reaction. She's really cool, like cool, calm.
Yeah, she's chill girl.
Oh, and I was like, oh yeah, she's happy. And then I sort of did this happy dance of like, oh my God. But the nervousness of like, what if she doesn't like the collection? What if she doesn't like, you know what I mean? Oh God.
Yeah. So it's like, it's always like being your own worst enemy in a sense, right? Like, how do you stop yourself from stopping yourself from growing and things like that? Like, that's hard to not be a mental block.
But I think that I don't know, I haven't really had any huge obstacles. I think if anything, I've really tried hard to align myself with other really, really talented, really like people I admire and people who I really are gonna like succeed and are kind. I really think that kindness is a really important thing in all that we do, and you know, especially with art, and I really want to build people up, and I really want to have fun with them while doing it, and I think it can be done. Like I'm gonna keep living in my delusion of like I can
Same.
or design, like because you have to be a little bit like delusional in your thoughts if you're going to be in business. That applies to any business. You have to be like, I'm going to do like, one of the things too, I remember from somebody speaking is like, you know, the person that was speaking at something, they were talking about how like, you know, I have a $5 million business, but like, I need to be hanging out with people with $15 million businesses. Like, because you always want to be like, listen, I'm an artist. I'm nowhere near that. But like, you know, but you know, like that's the kind of thoughts that you have to have in order to succeed and to grow. And I'm sort of at this point, I feel like right now where I keep debating like hiring someone like a student or something to help teach them like how to like do a few things. And then they could sort of take care of that so I could be creating more. But then I just knew I couldn't because schools kept getting canceled. And when the schools canceled, like, I'm home. I'm home.
Yeah.
So.
With everything you're balancing, you know, the lockdowns and trying to run a business and then having the kids home and everything like that, like how do you take time out of the day or maybe the week for yourself? And what do you do to, you know, recharge and reset and take care of yourself, which I know is a hard thing for entrepreneurs to do. How do you go about that?
I drink water.
It's a great first step. I love that.
No, I think for me, I don't watch TV. I might binge watch something on Netflix, maybe, but that's like at night. And so I just feel like, you know, we all have 24 hours in our day, right? So how do I want to spend them? And I try to prioritize getting the things done that I need to get done first, and then moving on from there. And then anything else is just sort of, you know, and I'll be honest, like last week was a really big selling week for me. I had an art show, and then I had sort of Valentine's Day that was, you know, a few more things that were picked up, which is great. Love that. Always have cards if anybody needs any cards for Valentine's Day. And so anyways, it was a really big, so what happened was my laundry got behind, and it was just like, oh, well, like, you know, you have to, normally I'm doing my laundry while I watch you do your little, like this podcast. And
it's so sweet.
I balance it on the dryer and stuff. But yeah, I guess that's kind of how I don't sweat things, you know, Ashley, if things need to get done, they'll get done. And one of my very good friends, she always said to me, you know, there's certain quotes that kind of stick in your head. And what she said to me is like, if you need something done, ask the busiest person you know. And I thought, that's not fair. I can't ask that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? That's true. It's very true, because the people who make the time for what needs to get done, they will do it.
Yeah.
And I've sort of kept myself around people that I feel like, you know, they will show up, they will do, they will, you know, put their heart into it too. And so I don't know. I just keep on trucking. And I think what's interesting is that kind of in speaking to what you were speaking to before, is like once people see you in a particular role, or like that you can do certain things, and that like I've delivered multiple businesses art, like so Audio Corp on Prospect Street, that's my art. Audio Corp out in Ormukto, that's my art. That's a hearing audiologist, or you know, like they're professional doctors or whatever.
Yes.
Trevor's awesome. Jenny's awesome. They own the business. Anyways, and so I've delivered for a lot of different projects, and I just kind of try to be quiet about it because I don't want to be oversaturated, if that makes any sense too. Like, anyway, so I don't know. I just really enjoy working with people who really want to enjoy my art, and it always fascinates me when I'm done. Like as an example, like a commission, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so good!" Like, because I don't really know if they're gonna like it. Actually, like they'll show like a piece that they like, and maybe, you know, like talk about the room and show me lots of pictures, but at the end of the day, I don't know if they're gonna like it or not. Like,
it's still your interpretation of what they've told you, right? So that is intimidating and scary to bring to somebody. But you knock it out of the park every time. You mentioned your artwork up here in Fredericton, but when I was reading your bio, one of the things that popped out to me is that your artwork is also in the States and in the UK. Can you talk to me about how you became an international artist and who has your artwork?
Oh, I'm much, again, through social media. Social media is also a few contacts I know in the States, and they found my art, and they were just immediately drawn in, and they were like, I have to buy. But you know, it's a process, because there are scam artists. I haven't run into that. I have not, like, touched wood and all of the things, but there are some scam artists is that like I had one that literally went to my I'm just saying this in case the artist is watching, that's why I'm sharing this, because you know they went to my website from Instagram, and then they sent me a personal message, and then they were like, oh, I'm looking for my wife to buy a piece of art between this amount and this amount, and you know, fishing and all that sort of thing. So you have to be really careful, to know what you're doing, and just be extra careful, and listen, there are so many people who are awesome. I can't wait to support you, and you never know where people are going to be touched by what you do all over the world, and that's a part of it. Like one of the people had sent it over to the UK for like a friend as a gift.
Oh,
yeah, like a couple of them did actually, and very generous friends. But you know, and so it's exciting. It's exciting when that happens. And again, I'm always nervous until I know that they have it, because I'm so. Can you imagine they don't get it?
It's such a journey too. Yeah. Oh, that's nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh, it's so cool to be able to say that you've been able to like touch different countries now with your work, and that's just going to keep growing over time as you keep putting yourself out there online.
And also other businesses, like there are so many amazing businesses that, and I try to keep it. I talked about the other ones because like I know that they're okay with it, but there are so many wonderfully supportive businesses, like business owners, that just they want to support the arts, and they get it. Like I had this I might cry, I'm warning. I had a mother-daughter come in, and I originally it was just going to be the daughter because she wanted to look at one of the pieces, and but it wasn't meant for her. Like she ended up collecting a few things too, but it was like her mom was sort of in the other section of my studio, and she was quiet, and she's not normally quiet, but I was like, let's go back and check on your mom. And she was impacted because something had happened recently when she saw this piece that wasn't even for sale, by the way. It wasn't even for sale. And she saw it, and she started like tearing. I was like, I knew what that piece was about, but I didn't know that because it was deeply personal to me. But it hit her, like I'm gonna cry, like okay, but it hit her in all of the right ways, and it reminded me because I haven't been out and about with people, like I haven't done a lot of like the markets or anything, like pop-ups, like I've been really quiet through this whole ordeal. But I was reminded through that just how important what I do is with that reaction. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
I was talking about it with my husband that night. I was like, they are like salt, like they are the salt of the earth people. They people of our community, and she needed that. Like she needed that, and I am so glad that she's getting it because she got it. And I didn't explain anything. Like it was just like it was literally
it was
like
just there.
And she just stopped dead and was like taking it in, and she was like, and there's the gold there, and that makes sense. And oh my gosh, like
oh, that's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful, and the daughter is awesome. She's super. Like I want to be your friend. I want to be like, yeah, I want to be your full-time friend. Like you need to just adopt me. You know, like I just love her. She's so cool. But I get to meet people like that. Like I get to meet amazing people like that, and like, where do we get to do that? Like, how do we get to do that unless we're in the mix, right?
That's it. And if you had never, started exploring this and trying this and, selling your art and putting yourself out there and building a community, like you wouldn't have been able to impact the people that you have. I love that you create art that's accessible for everyone. So like, even if it is just a magnet to come, spice up your kitchen a little bit and stuff like that, like everybody deserves to have something like that in their home. So it's been so wonderful talking to you. You are such a lovely ray of light. It's so nice to meet somebody and they're actually how they project themselves online. You always see so joyful. It comes through in your art, the colors and everything that you create with. Like it's so true to who you are, and it's just been so beautiful getting to know you better. Alison, my last question for you: what can we expect for you this year? Do you have anything coming up that we should be marking in our calendars?
I have a lot of, honestly, I have a lot of balls up in the air right now. And there's one thing in particular there's two things in particular that I'm really hoping happen. And oh, it's tricky because like
I know, like don't spill all the beans, but spill maybe one. No.
I think it's like this. It's like, you know, once people see that you've done certain things, then they then want that. And I hope that there's someone in particular out, but like we have to figure out like budget and different things and what exactly they're looking for. And so, but that would be like a pretty big scale project for me if that happens. Again, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm doing a lot of this. I'm
crossing my fingers. So more collaborations, more collections. We're going to just see more of you.
I will tell you this. I definitely want to be doing more with Adrian. Just are both mothers, and it's trying to like figure out the timing and stuff. I definitely want to do something with her because like I have my mask right here because I thought you might want to see it, but like my art looks really great on.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks really great, and she does like all of her scalloped edging and stuff like that, but like my art looks really good on material, like, so it looks really good. So I hope to do more with Adrian, and she's so cute and bubbly. Like
she says yay me too in the chat, so that looks like it's in the works. That's happening.
I really hope so. Anyways, her and I have a lot of fun together. She's a lot of fun, but she's been really busy, and so have I with the kids. It's just every twist and turn we can go through, we've been going through. But I also really like the way Adrian shows up online because she's very like she's herself, and she shares like behind the scenes, and she's positive, and I just think like it's contagious too, right? Yeah. Like, anyways, we have a lot of and it was a very natural fit. Like it was I told her, I was like, we're going to sell out Adrian. She was like, oh, well, I'll just make it as we go. I was like, no, Adrian, you need to be ready. This is going to sell out.
She's so humble. It's one of my favorite things about Adrian.
It's awesome. And she's fun. She's a lot of fun. Anyway, so... yeah.
So hopefully some more collaborations in the works there. That's super exciting. I'd love to see the tulip idea evolve.
Yeah, I haven't even talked to you about that, Adrian, but I really... talked to her about that because I really saw it like with her like scalloped like along. Anyways, I'll have to send her some pictures of the tulip. But we haven't been able to meet because it was like COVID lockdown, and then
hopefully all that seems like it's starting to wind down a little bit now. So I do hope we're coming to an end and we can kind of have some like normal life restored, I guess.
What's going to happen is that the momentum will be able to like start catching on more again. Like we've been a lot of start-stop. So
yes.
I get that momentum, it'll happen. And we know what we want to do. Like in our heads, I feel like we'll figure it out quickly.
That's kind of it. We've had these 2 years to kind of figure things out. So now we're all just kind of like ready to shoot off. That's so exciting. I can't wait to see what you gals create. She's like my favorite designer in the area. So I'm super pumped.
You have modeled for her.
Yeah, hey, if you guys need a model for this beautiful tulip dress, like, don't ever hesitate to call me. Alison, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know how busy you are. Thank you so much for coming on here and being a guest. And thank you everyone who joined in and tuned in and participated. And it was so much fun to do this morning. The live replays, so they end up on my account here. They end up on a video version on YouTube. And we are now on Spotify, Apple Music, all those good stuff there. So if you guys want to listen to it in an audio version, it will be uploaded later today. Thank you again, guys. Please go follow Alison. Follow her journey this year, and I will see you guys next Sunday for another episode. Thank you so much, Alison. You have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.